Andreas Angelidakis, who is an architect who likes mountains and clouds and websites as much as he likes buildings and trees and people. What is interesting if one looks at his trajectory is that it's always kind of at the intersection of two systems. There's art and architecture, there's virtual and the real, there's building and nature, there's ruin and construction, and there is also Greece and Norway. That's why it sort of made me think of Alighiero e Boetti, the Italian artist who called himself Alighiero and Boetti. So a very warm welcome to Andreas and Angelidakis.
Thank you. So this is all right. My slides are acting up a bit, and the videos are refusing to play, but we're going to fix that. So I want to. I mean, we heard of all these really interesting talks, and the way that I've kind of proposed cloud computing is really a way of living, a kind of a mode of habitation. What this kind of cloud computing system proposes is a place where we put all our things, we arrange our life, and that's a habitation, and it's really a life that is promised without objects. So we put all our images, all our data on the servers, and we don't need anything. We're in a cloud. When you're an architect and you're designing buildings in the last couple of decades, you usually use a computer. And what has that shifted is that that changed a bit the way we design buildings. We copy-paste a lot of things. We find libraries of objects. When you're designing buildings in the clouds, you tend to find these objects online in, let's say, ready-made libraries, and you copy-paste those. On the slide is me a few years ago in Second Life. I used to go there a lot. And I used to have this white orthogonal box that said, this is my office. And wherever I would go, I would put it down, and that would be my office. And so I'm here in Second Life and kind of collecting objects that I would later on copy-paste into buildings. Oops. Of course, the idea of copy-pasting buildings is not new. Le Corbusier proposed this domino frame, beginning of the 20th century, and this was a kind of domestic, affordable utopia. It was a kind of frame where you could fill up with your life, with your building, and it could be adapted for anywhere in the world, and this would be the ideal kind of template, if you want, for this domestic utopia. I mean, today in cloud computing, we use a lot of templates. Let's say an empty Facebook page is a template, and then you log in and you fill it up with your stuff, with your data, and that kind of becomes your home. So the idea of template is really important to this cloud computing architecture. Now, growing up in the South Mediterranean, I think we can have the video. I saw this template of Corbusier used and really kind of abused in a crazy way into structures which not only were filled up with life, but that was done over time. So people built up these concrete frames, and as they had money, they kind of built one floor, and then they filled it up with a second floor, which is kind of exactly what we do in a Facebook page. We fill it up with life as we go along. And then it really also talks about this kind of cloud computing thing as a drift, as a float, as a fickle building, as mentioned before. So these buildings change over time. They're not just designed and built. They kind of evolve over time. And that's what you end up with, is kind of almost ephemeral, crazy structures where part of the domino frame has become a house, and then part has been left open, outdoors. And people really lived in them, even in summer times. It's really kind of this ephemeral lifestyle that has been proposed or promised by cloud computing. So I really thought of these ideas kind of needed to be worked together, maybe to be, can we have the next video? I wanted to put these ideas together into some sort of memorable object. So I took this, this domino frame. I guess you could say this is me walking there somewhere in the cloud computing. And I went to look for a cloud, and I went to this website of a friend of mine. The website was called whywashesad.com by artist Raphael Rosenthal. And there you kind of deleted clouds, and I knew he had really designed nice outlines for clouds, of course. So I picked one from this website, and yeah. Of course, I put it on pilotis, which is another Le Corbusier kind of icon, to make up this kind of memorable object for cloud computing. The idea was that this house would not be a proposal for a finished object. It would be a kind of object that contains this architectural thinking about cloud computing. And it would be a house, obviously, that would exist in different moments in time as different stages of completion. So here is just an empty concrete outline with a kind of purple thing inside. It's an outdoor object that you live almost close to nature. Maybe we can have the next slide. So, or it could be like more filled up with more objects, or it could be like a more complete, a real house. And I really thought of it programmatically as a vacation home, because that's also another part of the idea of cloud computing. It promises a kind of ephemeral place, an affordable domestic utopia to which we could possibly escape to. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andreas Angelidakis. I've got the great pleasure now to introduce our last speaker, Werner Vogels. Dr. Vogels is Vice President and Chief Technology Officer at Amazon.com, where he's responsible for